Rosh Hashanah, we start thinking about everything where we're going. And we also get our candles and we make apple cake and we get honey and challah. And all of you have been asked to get ready for today, to meet us here online. And you gathered your things and you've signed in. And I think we're ready. Do you feel
It's so noisy there.
Let's see. Who else? Are you ready? Show us you're ready. Okay, very nice. So Shana Tova U'Mitucha.
Let's get started here. If everybody can stay on mute while we sing, I think it'll be sad not to hear everyone's voices together, but it'll probably sound the best so we don't get feedback. So we're going to start with our first song here, expressing how happy we are to be together. So here we go. Sing along on mute if you'd like. Hine tovu manayim shetachim nam yachad.
Shetachim gam yachad. Hine matov shetachim gam
yachad. Hine matov shetachim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
How good and how pleasant, brothers and sisters being together. Welcome to Folkshul Home's 5,781 year coming. It's also 2020. We're glad that you can bring Folkshul home. That's what we're doing, bringing throughout this year to celebrate, to be Jewish, and celebrate our secular humanist traditions together. Our program today is dedicated to life well lived. I want to stop for a moment to remember, to memorialize, and to hold into our hearts Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Associate Justice for the Supreme Court of the United States, a person who lived a righteous life. Let's take a moment. May her memory serve as a blessing for us all, personally, as a community, for the United States of America and the world.
I'd like to dedicate this next song to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and just address all of the heartache that we have been experiencing over the past 6 months, some collective and some individual that not everybody knows about. But it's great to have this community to lean back on when we need it. And with that, sing along if you'd like. People say to me, oh, you gotta be crazy. How can you sing in times like these? Don't you read the news? Don't you know the score? How can you sing when so many others grieve? People say to me, oh, what kind of fool believes that a song will make a difference in the end? By way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who sees a song as somewhere to begin. A song is somewhere to begin, in the search for something worth believing in. If changes are to come, then things must be done, and a song is somewhere to begin. People say to me, oh, you gotta be crazy. How can you dream in times like these? Don't you read the news? Don't you know the score? How can you dream when so many others grieve? People say to me, what kind of fool believes that a dream will make a difference in the end? By way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who sees a dream as somewhere to begin. People say to me, oh, you gotta be crazy. How can you love in times like these? Don't you read the news? Don't you know the score? How can you love when so many others grieve? People say to me, what kind of fool believes that love will make a difference in the end? By way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who sees love as somewhere to begin. Love is somewhere to begin, the search for something worth believing in. If changes are to come, there are things that must be done, and love is somewhere, and a dream is somewhere, and a song is somewhere to begin.
Thank you, Dotan. That's extraordinary. What I'd like us to do is say the Shechianu, and after we're done the Shechianu, I'm going to change up a little bit and ask everybody. We're going to take the slide down to look at or just slide through and see who else is here. Let's Shechianu ourselves. Let's welcome this moment, this generation of you and us all together at this time. Let's do that, and then let's take a moment to look at each other's faces. Shechianu is a traditional blessing that we say the first time of anything. It's the beginning of a new adventure. Thank you, Dotan, for leading us.
Baruch kol dor vador, shechianu, v'kimanu, v'higianu, lezman hazeh.
Each of you from your homes, let's say this together. Let's bring our voices together and say, blessed is each generation that has given us life, sustained us, and
brought to this time.
There's a blessing in hearing your voice. Kol Yisrael, we hear the voice of our community. Take a moment and scroll through. See who's here. See who you read. It's gonna work. There. Shout out to people. It's okay. Say hi. Use your voices. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Hi. Hi.
Happy New
Happy New Year, everyone.
Shana
Bye.
Tova.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
everyone.
Year.
Happy New Year.
What a great way to begin together. Oh, the year almost together. Yet we're together. So how is that going at the same time? We're going to find this way forward, as the word is, together.
So Rosh Hashanah is known as the head of the year. It's September 20, and it's also the first of Tishrei 5781. Can they both be? Well, yes. We have a calendar that we use in our day-to-day lives. That's known as the Gregorian calendar, which follows the sun. And we've got the Hebrew calendar that follows the moon, which is much, much older. And even though they're different, so we can have two different dates. And if you remember from last year, Rosh Hashanah was not on September 19th, but on a different date. It goes on a cycle of 19 years, but they each have corrections that make them both right. And I think it's something special that we can have many different days to celebrate each of the holidays and kind of change it up. Some days it's nice and warm, and some days like today, it's a little chilly. So the Jewish New Year, or Rosh Hashanah, is actually one of 4 Jewish New Years. We've got all of these New Years being tied to different points in the harvest. So the first New Year is at Tu B'Shvat, and the second one is at Pesach, and then the third one is later on, sometime in June usually, but again, it moves around on a cycle of 19 years. And then we have this one. And this is known as the head of the year, but there's a new year for the trees, and then there's a new year for the spring, that's Pesach, and then there's a new year for the harvest as well, specifically. So this is, I think, a significant time because it falls often with the beginning of the school year. So in our day-to-day lives, we associate this very much as the beginning of the year, more than the other 3 Jewish New Years. And I think also more than like New Year's Eve on December 31st. And so I think it's a great opportunity to do some reflection on the year and goal setting, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
It's also the birthday of the world, the idea of creation. And here we sit together, all of us, everybody who in the world, it's not just for us. The idea is this is the beginning. And we get to start over. It's one of the amazing parts of what Judaism is. The tradition gives us the opportunity to change. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about culture. So I am wearing, as you can see, a coat. It's cold, but these are all shades of white. I'm also, just so you know, I'm wearing socks, but I'm wearing slippers, not just because I'm at home. So I want to tell you, as secular humanists, we can choose and understand from traditions why we do, what we bring into our home. So I do this because my grandparents and my great-grandparents wore white. And in the synagogue where I went as a child, we wore white as the idea of purity or the idea of newness and starting. So it's kind of the way that I connect to Rosh Hashanah is getting my white clothes ready and wearing this and not wearing any leather, not taking the life of any creature for my celebration of this holiday, this beginning of the new year. I create from my past, for my family, the traditions I want to hold and repeat and give again and again. Each of you probably has your own. So parents, think for a minute what you can remember from your grandparents' home or your parents' home that helped you frame what Rosh Hashanah was when you were a child? Tell your kids some memory. I see some interesting conversations. For later, for your dinners, for the time that you have together celebrating Shabbat, try to bring your memories to the table. Also, on Rosh Hashanah, we eat, right? Every Jewish holiday has food, but this holiday has a different one. I'm going to show you, although we're supposed to light the candles before we eat this, I want to show you something. I want to show you this. So this is round. This is a challah, and it's round. And very often they have raisins in them to be a little extra sweet. This challah is round because it looks like the world. Only for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur do we eat a round challah. That is a tradition that my family held. So the Shabbat challah is 3 braids. And what happens is we unite the ends of those 3 braids to create the circle. The idea of unity and the idea of continuity. We keep going. It is an exciting idea, but around the world, Jews do different things and eat different things. So, do you have any things that your family ate at Rosh Hashanah?
I'm trying to think. We do this really fun thing with our apples where we slice them in a way that they turn into birds. And if you're interested, I can share the directions for doing that. My mother just made a video, but essentially you slice it, you put the apple on its side and slice it, up and down and then perpendicular to that first slice. And then you make each one smaller so that you can pull the wings back, put a couple cloves in for the eyes. And that would be something that we made every year together.
Maybe we'll do that at Sukkot together because it's still the harvest. Thank you, Dotan. Something else Dotan told me is that in like Yemen or Morocco, in the Sephardi world of the Jewish people in the lower half of the globe, so we have a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere, Jews would eat the head of a goat. And they would eat a lot of that portion. That would be considered delicious and an honor. You gave the head to the head of the household. What an incredible honor. Today, though, we're going to eat the head of fish like they used to eat in Morocco. So, Tom, would you like a bite of the head of the fish?
I am actually vegetarian. However, these fish seem to do the trick. Actually, the favorite fish of mine are these Swedish fish.
Swedish fish. Oh, perhaps you can all convince your parents to go out and get you Swedish fish. But they say never eat the tail. On Rosh Hashanah, you avoid eating the tail. So you can hold on to this, put it in a little Ziploc bag because you don't want to waste, and eat the tail later. Don't forget to eat your tail. That's what I always say. So, Folkshul has been around for over 70 years. If you can raise your hand if you were a child in Folkshul. Here we go. I see some children at Folkshul. There's some children in Folkshul. I was a teacher at Folkshul almost 20 years ago. Folkshul has been here for the families, the Jewish families of Philadelphia, the secular humanist families. And we are the only secular Jewish humanist school in the area. And we need your time, your talent, and your treasures. We need your optimism. As I started a little earlier, it is optimism that keeps us moving forward, that keeps us alive. We will never give up, and we need you because you are us. So at the end of our service, our program, we'll give you a link. If you choose to figure out how to give your time, talent, or treasure to Folkshul, we would be incredibly grateful. Children, parents, all adults who are joining us today. Thank you for your optimism and investing in us.
So this is a song that is often sung in the other service that Folkshul does. And if you want to hear it again, you should join us at that service.
Children, you can be just spinning in your rooms. You can just be turning.
And of
listen.
course, sing along if you'd like.
Yes.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose on heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of joy, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace. A time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. Sounds like COVID. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rent, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
This is our time. It is the time of COVID. And it is the time for us to unite, to be strong together. So thank you again for being here. Natan and I are going to light the candles, and we ask that if you have your candles there, that each of you lights your candle as well. And when we're done, we're going to ask you to turn your camera around if it's clear, rotate it so that we can see your light. Instead of the light of your face and the light of your eyes, we'd like to see the candles that you've kindled for the past and the present for our Folkshul High Holiday celebration.
Baruch ha'or ba'olam, Baruch ha'or ba'adam, Baruch ha'or b'Shabbat.
Radiant is the light in the world. Radiant is the light within people. Radiant is the light of Shabbat, Kol. Help me, why did I forget the words?
Yom Tov.
Yom Tov. Radiant is the light of Yom Tov. This good day. Thank you. We've got a problem here, though, don't we?
I think I actually have a solution.
Do you?
So the problem that Beth is addressing is that I think we forgot some wine to bless. But I think I heard a long time ago that during World War II and the Holocaust, rabbis in concentration camps decreed that if there was no wine, that we could still make the blessings over any liquid. So we've got water here to make sure that our throats don't get parched, and I think that'll also serve just as well for our blessing here. Bruchim ha'adama, hashemesh ve'hageshem, asher yotzrim pri hagafen.
We rejoice. Please say it with me. We rejoice in the earth, the sun, and the rain, which produces the fruit of the vine. It also produces the fruit of mayim, of water, that all sustains all life.
Okay. The last blessing here for our unique and fun and extra sweet bread. Bruchim hamotziim lechem min haaretz.
Blessed are those who bring forth bread from the earth. You may take a piece, of course, of your challah or of your bread and dip it into honey. I'm going to let you get your own because, of COVID. Try from that piece. Rip from that side. Moment and enjoy. I share my challah. We need to light another candle.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to do that? Is that now?
That is.
It is.
I was confused why we only had 2 candles for the past and the present, but what about the future, Beth?
We need to light another candle. How interesting. There we go. We have to kindle this. Let's see how it's going to work. So will you hold the past and the present? No, I'll hold the present. You hold the past. I don't know if it's going to work, you guys.
The wind is not in our favor right now.
It would work in your house because you don't have the wind.
Let's light it one more time and see if we can protect it.
He's got the past. I have the present. So when we put the past and the present, watch the flame. Can you see it? Can we keep it a little? There. Put the camera back a little. Hold on. In the meanwhile, we're going to lose the flame. Here we go. When you put the past and the present together, and you burn yourself, and look at the flame. The flame grows. Do you see that? Do you see how much larger the flame grows? You can try this at home. What happens when you remember the past and you hold the present as holy and you bring them together, you build your future and the light is larger. That's all of us together. We are creating a brighter, healthier, happier future together. Let's see, can you see this candle and you can see the third candle? Mm-hmm. Yes, got it.
There's the blessings for the wine and bread for those who were curious. Sorry about that. And now we have an opportunity for some reflection. The way I would like this to work is some time individual with just yourself, some time to share your thoughts with the people who are with you. And we also would like to hear your thoughts as well. So if you could, when I tell you, put some of those thoughts in the chat in a little bit, we would appreciate it. So what I'd like you to think about are these 3 questions. What are my strengths as a member of my family? How have my strengths affected the people I love? And what is my kavanah, intention, for how I interact with my community? These are big questions, and I'm not looking for answers. I'm looking for reflection. This is something that if you think you found the answer, you probably haven't. And it probably means it's time for a little more reflection and something that we can constantly be thinking about throughout the year. And Rosh Hashanah, and especially the next 10 days leading up to Yom Kippur, are a great opportunity to ask questions like these. So take some time in your own head to think about these questions and how you are as a person and how you relate to the people that you care about.
So social scientists have studied peoples around the entire world. And they found that there are many qualities that all people hold as true and as real and as strength, that build themselves and build their communities. And some of those qualities are honesty, reflection, reflective ability, friendship, kindness, generosity, charity. Thinking outside of yourself, thinking about others, critical thinking, and more. You can embrace those qualities as people do around the world to make yourself, your family, and our community stronger.
So if you have formulated some of your thoughts, we would love for you to share those with your family, the people who are around you, people who may not be physically around you, but who you wish were around you. This is a great time for a text or a reminder note to give someone a call when we're finished here. And then please share some of those thoughts to any of these questions or other questions that you thought about in the chat so that we can all reflect together. So take a few minutes for that now.
I'm gonna text somebody I love. So I did that personally. So Tom, we hadn't planned this, but will you put something into the text that you could say to everybody here? Yeah, so this is not something we plan, because we do this on a one-to-one basis. We reflect inside of ourselves, we reflect with the people that we love, and then we can make big statements about how we are in our community. So Tatan's going to set an example, and he's going to write something for us. And I did put him on the spot, just so you all know. While he's writing, I'm going to begin to tell you a midrash. And this midrash is a story that was told from person to person. It's part of what is our oral history. Sometimes there's written Jewish history and there's oral Jewish history. And it's not something that you have to hold as written like law. This is written and told from person to person to inspire and to create a new beginning. So this is a story about the great oak forest. So imagine around in a forest, there are oak trees everywhere, and those oak leaves and those acorns are wondrous. And inside that oak forest lives a small but strong apple tree. It stands alone in the forest, yet isn't alone. Season after season, the little apple tree looks up at the stars in the sky that seem to be reflected on the branches of the majestic oaks. This is the perspective. This is what our little apple tree knows. It knows that there are stars. It sees and observes the stars on the branches, and it calls out with deep longing. I want more than anything in the world to have stars on my branches. Then I would truly feel special. The apple tree started to complain to anybody that would listen. I am not good enough. I don't have stars. I wish I had stars. How can I get stars? Where are my stars? Why do everyone else, all of the other trees around me, have stars? In that moment, a hard wind began to blow, and the tree swayed back and forth and almost lost her balance. She felt unsure. She stopped looking up at the stars. She stopped looking around at all the others. She grounded herself in the earth, and her apples fell to the ground. Look, said the majestic oak tree. Look, what do you see? And the little apple tree looked down and saw right in the center of each apple was a star. I have stars, the apple tree rejoiced. I was looking outside instead of inside. My stars have always been here all along. I just never noticed. I didn't realize. Look inside yourself for your goodness. Find where you stand. Secure yourself so that you can handle the wind, and notice what might come as great winds come and the rains fall, how you too can be strong, and find what might you be missing. Find the good in others and help them to see, because sometimes we don't even see our own strength.
Thank you. So as we continue on, if you have thoughts you want to put in the chat, please feel free to do so. What we're going to do now is something that some of you did yesterday, and it's called tashlich. So this is a practice done all over the world. And the idea is that you take an object, sometimes breadcrumbs, sometimes rocks, and you imbue that object with some aspect of your reflection that you didn't really like. Something that you've done this year that didn't make you feel good. It didn't make the people you love feel good. Or something that just didn't go right and was frustrating. And maybe you held on to that frustration for too long. And those those thoughts that weigh on our shoulders, we can remove those from our mind and put it into this object and send it away. And this is the idea of cleansing our spirit in preparation for these 10 days of reflection and thoughtfulness. And so I encourage you, if you were not able to make it yesterday to the Folkshul program, to take some time. Oftentimes people go to a waterway and a nearby creek or something like that, and send off the things that they'd like to get rid of down the stream. My family used to go to the beach over Rosh Hashanah and throw shells into the ocean. And this is something that can be great if you do alone and can be something that's great if you do with others. So I will leave that up to you.
The word tashlich means cast away. And the word tshuva means return and turn. And those are the two things that are mitzvot that you do to celebrate Rosh Hashanah. We're going to do a few other mitzvot that are essential for us to feel like we have celebrated, that today is different from other days.
A tradition that I started a few years ago doing with young Folkshul students was something called a reverse tashlich. And I thought that over the years doing tashlich with my family, as meaningful as it was, it left me feeling sad a lot of the times. Because when we take something away from ourselves, we feel empty. And I'd like to fill that up with something great. So we asked you to bring a special object. And if you didn't, find something around the room. It can be anything. You can also save this activity for after if you'd like to go on a walk in the woods. And pick up something that sticks out to you for some reason. It doesn't have to be a family heirloom, though it could. It doesn't have to be the most perfect apple, though it could. It's just something that you would like to keep. And in the reflections, when you found something negative, I'm sure you also found something positive that you'd like to continue to do for this year. So I brought a shofar that was a gift from my father. And this will be my object that I will fill this object with a commitment that I make to myself and the people around me to continue to do for the year. And I'll leave it at the corner of my desk as a reminder of this commitment. And I'd like to read you a story, a little bit of food for thought.
Maybe I'll interrupt for a second. So, Ton, I have a surprise, something you didn't know.
Uh-oh.
Your personal texts are showing up for the whole community to see. So
great.
I thought I'd interrupt you before you told the story. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were saying the last thing. But we would like you in this moment, while Ton is cleaning up his communication just a little bit, we'd love you to write something to us. So let's text something. You know, I'll tell you, this is what you call an opportunity. You always are finding a lemonade. Find the opportunity. I see, I'm just going to stop for a second. I'm just going to say, hi, Folkshul teachers. Here, I want to acknowledge you for being here. Okay, everyone will know I'm dyslexic. I announce it here. You can see it in my writing. Actually, that doesn't look as much dyslexic as just not a great typer. But I often see things, sharing my personal life. I see things differently. Write us something that you notice as he's correcting his. Share with us. And I see Beth Kahn, and I can't tell you, and I see Art, how happy it makes us to have our Folkshul community, our teachers here as well. Leah, thank you for pointing that out. Leah, thank you for being here. And Leah, thank you for facilitating so much of what we do. We could not do this without Leah. So sometimes in the middle of doing something, we stop and we make a correction. And that's what we're doing just now. So the Dotan can keep a private life private. Fair enough.
Now you all know that my girlfriend's at Linvilla Orchards. Oh, well.
Without you. Wait, she's
Without me.
got apples, right?
She's getting apples and honey for the week. Sorry about that. Thanks for bearing with us. So this story is something that my mother gave me a few weeks ago to start my reflection process, and I'd like to share it with you. A lovely little boy was holding 2 apples with both hands. His mother came in and softly asked her little boy with a smile, "My sweetie, could you give your mom one of your 2 apples?" The boy looked up at his mom for some seconds, and he suddenly took a quick bite on one apple and then quickly on the other. The mom tried hard not to reveal her disappointment. Then the little boy handed one of his bitten apples to his mom and said, "Mommy, here you are. This is the sweeter one." No matter who you are, how experienced you are, and how knowledgeable you think you are, always delay judgment. Give others the privilege to explain themselves. What you see may not be the reality. Never conclude for others. So this sentiment could be something that you imbue in your object. It could be a number of other things, whatever is meaningful to you. And I also like to take this opportunity to do something maybe a little more challenging than usual. Maybe not like a daily task, something that you would do anyway, something more superficial, but something deep that changes who you are and the way you interact with people. And something maybe that you've wanted to do for a while. And here's your excuse. Get it done. And we are here to support you in that.
You could write in the text what your object is and what your deep commitment to yourself is. That's your choice. But if you ask us, if you write it in the text, it allows us to support you in what it is you're working on. I will do that. I want to do that. How do I do that?
Do it in this one.
Okay, I'm going to do it in that one. While Dotan is going to sing a song that you all know, I'm going to share something that I'm going to ask you all to help me with.
Okay, sing along if you'd like. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, now I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love between brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh.
I really like that song.
And thinking a lot about the hammer of justice this morning.
Oh my goodness. I wrote something probably not even that easy to read, but I'm going to hold that true, and I'm not going to put it in my cell phone because it's something I use, but I'm going to put it in this pine cone and keep this pine cone with myself to remind myself that I am what I am. So, Shema Yisrael is a prayer. It's a poem. It's a stance, and it's a belief that we are a whole people from around the entire world. When we use the word Yisrael, we are thinking not of only the place, we're thinking of every human on earth. We're thinking of all of the animals and the plants and the entire universe can be Israel, can be us. The word Shema is really funny because it means listen, right? So I think often we use that word, you listen to me now, you listen, right? I don't think that's the listen. It's here. It's different. It's here. And I like that it's here as in H-E-R-E, as in being very present in this moment, here, and here as in listening, hearing the sounds of people on the other side of the world that might be hungry, or the sounds of peace and the becoming of friendships that can happen between Palestinians and Israelis, that can happen between people that are so different. The sounds of the world that we want to create that is harmonious. So this prayer is said in, okay, it's not an emergency. This prayer is said, the Shema Yisrael is said at least 2 times a day in many people's homes. In religious people's homes, they say the Shema. And we together want to say these words and hold them true so that we can be our best and we can unite with all people. So some people, when they say the Shema, they cover their eyes gently like this. They say that to eliminate all the distractions, because let me tell you, there's a lot going on between the TV and the phone and the radio and the internet, the computer. We are distracted by all of the things happening outside. The Shema brings us home, brings us here, and brings us to ourselves.
So I would love to speak the Hebrew now, or sing, and then we can go through this English rendition, which I had never seen before, but is very beautiful. Shema Yisrael v'kol anashim anachnu echad.
Hear, O Israel, and all people, we are one. Let's read together. Would you mind reading with me?
Sure.
Will you read with us too? We
who lives secure in our warm houses, who, returning at evening, find hot food and friendly faces. Consider that there are people who labor in the mud, who know no peace, who fight for a crust of bread, who die at a yes or a no. Consider that there are people without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and hearts cold as a frog in winter. Consider that there are children who are abused, betrayed, and enslaved. Shema Yisrael v'kol hanashim anachnu echad.
Hear, O Israel, and all people, we are one.
These words are commended to us. Let us engrave them in our hearts and minds, when we are in our houses, when we walk on our way, when we go to bed, and when we rise. Let us teach them to our children.
It's beautiful. Now, there is a mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah. We've got the bread. Yeah, that's good, and it's good to do and to say the blessings. This is a mitzvah of blowing the shofar and hearing the shofar blown. In Ashkenazi and in Sephardi synagogues around the world, on Rosh Hashanah, it is blown 100 to 101 times. If you can imagine, there was a time, here I brought you, so you could see this ram's horn, which I bought in Israel, is a huge, huge ram's horn. But I will tell you that the little ones make better sound. So you can't always judge the shofar by its color. So I have a small one as well. I can't blow it very well, but Dotan has agreed to blow the shofar for us. If you have one, and you have, I see, does anyone else have a noisemaker that you can use? I see. I'm so glad you have them. Let's bring out your noisemakers and let's ring in this new year with the sound that people, Jewish people, are listening to around the world over these days.
So because we're short on time, I'm going to give a quick crash course on how to blow the shofar. It's a very simple instrument. It's essentially just a tube. We put the big end out so that it projects sound and the small end towards our mouth. Put your lips together pretty tight and you blow as if you're trying to make an elephant noise. So to practice, before we use a shofar, we'll use our arm as a big elephant trunk and make a sound like this. So that very sound that you make with your lips, if you put it up to the small end of the shofar, we make quite a beautiful ringing of the New Year sound. And there's 4 different kinds of sounds that we make on Rosh Hashanah. And they are, the first one, Tkiya.
Shvarim. Trua. Tkiya Gadola. Wow!
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. We have another song to sing as we get ready to close our program and celebrate. All of you guys, I see Harry. That was beautiful. Wait, while he's setting up, let's just hear one more Tekiah. And let's hear you. Let's put your sound on. Let's hear it. I want to hear you blow it. Go ahead. Okay. Everybody blow. Everybody blow it. Yep. Let's hear it. Yay.
Bashana haba nesheva milchesa. Yeladim b'chofsha otire, kamatoriye, mashana, mashana, abaa. Otire, kamatoriye, mashana, mashana, abaa. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together and no longer will relive in fear.
With the vaccine!
And the children will cry without wondering whether on that day dark blue clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we care, if we share, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we care, if we share, you and me. Many have dreamed, many have died to make a bright tomorrow, and their visions remain in our hearts. And the torch must be passed with hope and not in sorrow on the day.
What is happening? Not in sorrow, and a promise to make
To make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we care, if we share, you and me. Otire, kamatoriye, mashana, mashana, abaa.
Yay. Yay. Come here. So I'm trying to get my puppy to come say hello to all of you. Come here. Hold on. Come on all the way. Yes. Can you see him?
Yeah, they can see
You
them.
can see. This is my guy, Morty. If you guys have pets, bring them to your Zooms. Bring them to our programs. I'm going to start a program, a project, where in every one of our Zooms, I'm going to hide something, and I'm going to let you know what it is, but it's going to be hidden somewhere in our next Zoom when we meet up for you to find and put in the text. So there's going to be a challenge the next time we meet up. Leah, when's the next time Folkshul meets again?
Folkshul will officially open on Sunday, the 27th, so 1 week from tomorrow.
On Zoom for the first class on the 27th, but I will open up, maybe from my porch if it's not too cold. I'm a little cold today. Or I'll be inside, but I'm going to hide something for you, and I'll let you know in a riddle what it is. And when you come, you get to see who can find it, and you'll type it in and see who finds it first. So we want you to join us, and we'll have lots of games, and we'll have lots of learning, because we need to be together. We will have an in-person, socially distant Sukkot celebration. I really hope you can come. We are not going to build the hut with a house over top with where you can see the stars. We're going to build a big long wall, and then we're going to take the wall down. And the wall will be built out of all the past Sukkot's tarps that we have ever used before. So we will construct and we will deconstruct this idea of walls. That is one thing. We will also be dancing in line dancing, because that is socially distant and safe. And we have a musician, we have a Rakdan coming, and we will dance and we will sing very distant from each other, and we will be safe, and we belong to.
And everybody is welcome. Bring your friends so that they can experience Folkshul for Sukkot.
Absolutely. So Leah is going to post the last slide. There it is. Help us sustain Folkshul for your grandchildren's grandchildren, and visit us and donate. Thank you all for coming. Write something in the text. You know what? I realize that I need to know, Leah needs to know, Dotan needs to know how you feel at this moment. Give us one word, please. Somebody write a word in so we can see it before you leave. Give me one word. How do you feel? Supported. Yay! Anybody else have a word for us? Proud. Oh, me too. One more. Thank you for doing this. It was nice to slow down and reflect. Happy. Mika. Happy. Tildy.
There we go. Fixed it. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to try to get this posted as soon as I can so that you can send it to friends and family who couldn't make it. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
We're a little long, but not too long.
Shana Tova. Bye. What do you say?